here's what I want to do. I want to ask everybody to kind of think through this, and I want you to put your top 3 quarterbacks in this division. Okay.
Okay.
So again, if we're just looking at starters, you got Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, Geno Smith, Brock Purdy in no order. Then you're looking at like first tier backups. You've got Colt McCoy, Stetson Bennett, Drew Lock, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold. Those are kind of the games. So I'm curious to see what other people, how you would rank for 2023 only. We're not talking long term. This year only. Who are the quarterbacks that kind of stand out for you as the best for this year? This year.
From our division, right?
So I'll tell you my order, and I'm curious to see what other people have to say. Kevin right here with B&D Gaming Channel, he says Stafford's 1. I got Stafford 1 as well.
I had
you got Kyler 1.
I got Kyler Murray 1. I do.
Yeah, I've Kyler 2, but again, he's not healthy. I would say there's a better chance that Kyler doesn't play at all this year than playing more than 5 games.
I'm cool with that. So
again, there's no way he's playing the first half of the season no matter what.
Right. I'm just thinking overall at the quarterback position. But if you're just talking about who's going to probably be available, I mean, we don't even know Brock Purdy's status, even though we think we know Brock Purdy's status. So there's a possibility that he's not playing at the beginning of the season as well, right?
Right.
Now, yeah. I think I like Mosquito Killer's answers right here. I think Stafford, if healthy, I think Stafford going into the season is starting. I think he's healthy enough to start. The question marks come around Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray, and now you're going to enter guys like Colt McCoy, Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold, right? Because ESPN has Darnold as number 2 on the depth chart. Really weird to me.
Yeah, well, a lot of that comes from what's his name?
Yes, sir. I understand. And then and then who am I? And then Geno, right? And so for me, I feel like this is tough. This is a tough question. But
so here's my order. Okay, I went Stafford, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Geno. Those were my 4 in that order. I had Purdy ahead of Geno.
So I'm flippy floppy with the first 2.
Look at this. Geno was Sam Darnold before last year. He was worse than Sam.
He was worse than Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I'm Geno is last for me. Purdy would be 3rd. Actually, I'm flipping that. I apologize. It's Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith.
Ooh, I like that list. And again, these are just opinions. Like we'll have to see how they play. Now, I dove into because Purdy and Geno were so close to me. So close to me. And so I was like, you know what? Everybody kept talking about how Geno was in the MVP conversation, all those things. So I went and looked at his best 8 games. During his MVP stretch. He threw 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3 lost fumbles, 1 rushing touchdown. Put that together, 14 touchdowns, 6 turnovers, pretty damn good. Brock Purdy on his only 8 games, not cherry picking, his only 8 games, 13 touchdown passes, 4 picks, 1 fumble lost, 2 rushing touchdowns. So he had 15 touchdowns, 5 turnovers. So 1 more touchdown, 1 fewer turnover. And that's close. During his only 8 games. So his stats now, his completion percentage is not near as high. But just the fact that if you take Geno at his best, and how old is Geno? He's really freaking old. How old is Geno? He's 30. He's about to be 33.
That's
10 years older.
Old.
Yeah, but for an NFL quarterback.
No. I feel like there's
Brock Purdy's 23.
Understood.
He's 33.
I feel it's an age difference, but I feel like quarterbacks can play to the good ones can play to they like 40 if they train properly, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day,
my question is Geno going to get better?
He
got way worse second half of the season.
That's good. So let me explain this, right? I'm looking at Seattle. I'm saying to myself, what did Seattle do in the offseason, right? And I know what they did in the draft. Like that I have down to the science, right? They added in a slot guy that can also line up on the outside and could be a danger threat, right? We're talking about Njigba, right? And then they also added another running back to their core, right? Because they struggled with that.
Zach Charbonnet.
Charbonnet from UCLA. And so offensively, that's the only thing you worry about. They gave him a couple of other weapons. We already talked about how their tight ends are pretty much the safety nets for these quarterbacks, right? I think their offensive line, they may struggle a little bit, but they got pass catchers out of the backfield. They got weapons that they can get the ball to in space. I mean, you might see Yak opposed to them just throwing the ball down the field. And why would they throw the ball down the field when they have a high efficient guy and Geno Smith? Now they're going to look to get them underneath yards, just like some team that I know that they're going to copycat because they couldn't beat us. I'm telling you, like you gotta. We don't know if this is gonna, translate out on the football field, but this is to me how the Seattle Seahawks are trying to set up. So this, my friend, can actually help Geno get better. Because remember, Tyler Lockett got injured last year at some point, and it was weird, right? And so then you knew they were going to Metcalf, and then they didn't have another really guy. They didn't really have another guy, right? They had some guys that would step up from time. Then Kenneth Walker wasn't as consistent as a running back. They didn't have any other running backs. They stayed hurt. I think Carson was out for the year, whatever his name was. But at the end of the day, they added. So this can help him be better. It's no different than saying, look what our team has and look who our quarterbacks are, right? Brock Purdy, same thing.
But we have 10 years of film on Geno. 10 years.
But if he's just dumping the ball off and getting it to a playmaker,
right?
That's the. I mean, how much film can you watch to stop a guy from making a play on you?
Yeah, I think my biggest issue was I remember going into the draft. The one thing I didn't want to happen was the Seahawks to draft Anthony Richardson. I was terrified of it.
I remember that. I remember saying that.
Just because the big arm and the athletic ability, like Geno does not scare me. Look at Juan Solis. What's up, brother?
For sure.
Stafford, Purdy, Geno. And I'm not like I have Geno fourth, and I've got him almost neck and neck with Purdy. But my thing is this: how do you beat the 49ers defense? You got to throw the ball deep. You got to have an athletic quarterback. Geno's all right, borderline athletic. And yeah, his efficiency numbers on the deep ball were high. He hit the DK Metcalf touchdown, the only touchdown against Demo all year. But I'm sorry, that Geno Smith was terrible whenever he played against quality teams all year. And I don't know, what good teams did he beat? What good defenses did he beat? He didn't beat us 3 times.
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking. All right, so I see Kylie's comment, and I'm glad he agrees with you. One good season from Geno. Now he's Warren Moon. Well, fuck. I mean, Brock Purdy might not do shit next season. Like, you could say the same thing.
True. Very true.
So at the end of the day, you go off of what they did, and you're hoping that you add so that they get better. Just like I'm hoping Brock Purdy is better. Now they're going to have film on him. Now that they know he's an efficient guy. They know he's trying to get the ball out of his hand quick. So what can he do to be better coming off of this crazy-ass injury? So at the end of the day, like, I'm not advocating for Geno. You asked me how can he get better. Well, I gave you 2 reasons. They added another running back, and they got him a freaking guy that can do damage with the football in his hand.
There we go. It seems like I'm lower on Purdy. You and I are lower on Purdy than everybody else. A lot of people are having Purdy 1 or 2.
I don't think they really watch Matthew Stafford play football.
Yeah.
I don't think they go back to the season that they won the Super Bowl because nobody likes the Rams. And then I don't think they pay attention to like his tenure in Detroit. Like the dude is a legit top quarterback in the league when healthy. He's good. He's not like. It's kind of like in that Brett Favre realm, if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's got a rocket, man. He's got a cannon. Like Kali says, and this I think Kali said it better than I did. Geno has a track record of being horrible. Purdy is an unknown. That's the thing. If I look at Geno Smith, I've got 8 years of terrible quarterback play. Terrible.
But then give me context with that. Who the fuck did he play for?
I mean, the Jets were coming off of
they sucked.
The NFC Championship.
Jets terrible, always will be terrible.
AFC Championship.
Yeah,
that's
keep going.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah, you could talk about some bad teams there for sure. Yeah,
and it's the same thing for then you could compare him to Sam Darnold because we're hoping Sam Darnold turns a leaf now that he's in San Francisco with a better team. Geno went to a better team, well more matured. He matured up and he learned how to play football. He got through the worst part of his career, which he should have been out of the league. But like, luckily, he went to Seattle, and he's not out of the league. Now he's got a 3-year extension, 3-year deal. Look, I'm not saying Geno is going to be the man. I still got him fourth on the list. But
Yep.
and I'm not even saying I'm with you, John. I agree with you. This he doesn't scare me. We just got to make sure we bring him down and just keep him on his toes. Just keep Geno on his toes. Make him
Yeah.
make the throw. You know what I'm saying?
He'll get a win against the Niners eventually. I mean, the
No,
team's
he
too
won't.
good and it's
Nah,
rivals and
no,
all. You
I'm not.
say no,
I'm not. He's
but
not getting
like
winning.
I'm just saying this. Like I was happy they signed him. I was happy they didn't draft another quarterback. The whole time I was like, man, please don't draft a quarterback. Please don't. And they did it, and I was like, nice. So I don't know. We'll see. I like this approach, Debster.
And
And
I'm with Debster on this.
yeah,
Like I
go ahead.
feel like this season to me is going to be this season to me should be harder on Brock Purdy than it is for Trey Lance. I know that doesn't make sense, but I feel like for me, if Brock Purdy goes out there and loses week 1, I'm having a field day. I just don't expect him to lose. He hasn't
I don't
lost
either.
a regular
Yeah.
season game.
I'll say this. My nightmare situation is the 49ers don't figure out their quarterback situation this year.
I don't think they do, but I don't think they do. There's a small possibility that Brock Purdy regresses, right? I'm just looking at all the scenarios and I'm playing every factor.
Right.
I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying that it can happen. And there's a possibility that Trey Lance progresses. Then there's a possibility where guys get injured and then you're just going to need one of these guys to step up. And I feel like when you talked about Sam Darnold, you said we have the best third string quarterback, which we do. Even if Trey Lance is the third string quarterback and I go through the other team's third string quarterbacks, he's better than the other third string quarterbacks. So at the end of the day,
I think Sam Darnold's the best second string quarterback. I take Sam Darnold over Drew Lock.
see what I'm saying? Like you got to look at the room. Like we're looking at the room, not just the quarterback per quarterback. We're looking at the whole room. And if God forbid, which it should never, ever, 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 ever happen again, the 49ers lose 3 more quarterbacks in the same season, then I think we seriously have to question strength and training, coaching, play calling. Something got to be questioned. But if that ever happens, I feel like the 49ers have bolstered up the room with better talent. That's what I'm trying to say.
I like it. So here we go. Let's get to it. All right, Wayne. I want to hear your quarterback room rankings. Oh, real quick. Jack, what's up? Super chat for Jax. John, I disagree. Geno will lose because we're 17-0. I said eventually. I didn't say this year.
He did add the word eventually, Jax. He did say eventually. I shut that down, though.
Games are hard.
They are, but I just don't feel like Geno's going to be able to overcome the monster of the Niners defense.
All right, so let's see here. We're going quarterback rooms 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start at 4. What is the worst quarterback room in this division? Which team has the worst?
This is tough.
It's hard. There's not a bad room.
I would say the Rams have the worst. I know.
Whoa. This is all right. We've agreed on every position. We're way off here. We are way off
because look, it's Matthew Stafford and then who?
Stetson Bennett.
All right, it's Geno Smith and then Drew Lock, right? It's
again, you said Stafford was the number 1 quarterback.
Yeah,
so
but you said the room. Like, only because
I'm trying to understand.
Only because the room. God forbid if Stafford goes down, they should go 0 and whatever if he goes down week 1. There's no way they should win a game with the quarterbacks that they have in their room. Whereas I look at Arizona's room. I already know Colt McCoy's starting, but God forbid he gets you a couple of wins.
That's why I have them last.
And I understand, but if Kyler Murray comes back, they're better.
Okay. So 2.
So I got Rams last, Arizona 3. I got Seattle 2 and the Niners 1.
Okay. So we're close. My 4, I got 49ers 1, Rams 2, just because Stafford, that's assuming he's healthy, but he's throwing, everything seems normal. So I got Niners, Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals. So we just disagree on the Rams.
Yeah, with the Rams, and I like your argument, right? I mean, Stafford does bolster up everything, but you already talked about him aging. You already talked about this injury that he's dealing with. You talked about a lot of things. Now he does have a good a decent supporting cast out there. I still don't think they run the ball very well. I still means that he's going to be gunslinging and throwing the ball way too much, which is going to leave him open to more injury. So yeah, starting this season, Stafford is that number one guy. Ending the season, I don't think he's the best quarterback in that division.
There
And
we
if
go.
Even if Kyler Murray doesn't play in this team, and there's a possibility that he might play.
Right. Look at this Niner Sickness podcast. Go check it out if you haven't yet.
My
This
man.
haunts me. This is why I don't sleep at night. Brock Purdy or Trey Lance better impress Kyle this season. I do not want to see Kirk Cousins in a Niners uniform. There's just certain people I don't believe in. Not that he doesn't exist or that he isn't real. I do not want to root for Kirk Cousins.
Ever.
That's Blaine Gabbert 2.0, man, in my opinion. Now, I get that Cousins way better, but not as far as like winning games. It's not. He's stats only. He's cheesy as hell. He's not a good person. I just don't like that dude. I just don't want to root for that guy. Will I? Team first. Man, I really don't want that dude on this team. I really don't.
I think Mark asks a really good question. He says, how can we be number one if we don't know who the quarterback is going to be? We have an unknown starter, but we have 3 starting quarterbacks.
So again, back to I love this question, Mark. Like
question.
I have Stafford number 1, right? But I don't have. I mean, I've got Purdy number 3. I've got Trey number 5. I've got Darnold number 6 overall rankings over the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Niners have 3 top 6 quarterbacks in my rankings of this division. Again, what would you rather have? Would you rather have Stafford and all that mess, or would you rather have the 49ers 3 young options? For what we have, I'd rather take our mess. Because again, a lot of it's just Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy's the floor of the quarterback that we're getting, and that doesn't even mention the contract, dude's getting $55 million against the cap. Stafford is
right.
Like, so that figures into the equation too.
Yeah, I think for me, Mark, I think I kind of look at it the same way. Like I assess it the same way John does. And so I'm looking at it as if, well, the 49ers technically have 3 quarterbacks that can actually start. You can say that Seattle has 2 because Drew Lock was a starter at some point in his career. And then it's just Matthew Stafford. And then it's just Colt McCoy. And if, my man Kyler Murray comes back. But other than that, their room is blah, right? So I'm looking at the whole room. And the way John did his ranking, it just makes sense. I feel like Trey Lance has won games with the 49ers. The only quarterback that hasn't won any games, the Niners, is Sam Darnold. And there's no way he can't win a game with this team. Like, there's just no way. So I feel like that is even going to be better because now Sam Darnold's also going to get to play with the weapons and things like that. So overall, as a room, I know people probably think I'm being a homer, but I'm not. I think my logic is we got 3 quarterback ones.
Yeah. Debster, what's up? She says, do the 49ers really have bad quarterback luck? Been this way before, Kyle and John. There were over 70 starters at the quarterback position last year in the NFL. There's only 32 teams. Do the Niners have worse luck than most teams? Sure. And you could dive into that, the boots and the play actions and all that stuff. But just the NFC West, if we just look at that, I think there was 13 quarterback starters on 4 teams. And Geno started every game. So really, you're talking 12 quarterback starters on 3 teams. So the Rams, Cardinals, and 49ers all went through 4 quarterbacks. So, whenever you add that context to it, it doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean things shouldn't change. Doesn't mean any of those things. But, yeah, a lot of quarterbacks. We've had 1 quarterback last the season in the past decade. That was Jimmy Garoppolo in 2019. We went to the Super Bowl. So
yeah, interesting, though. And to me, John, this is a great episode because I like the pushback from people not picking the 49ers as the best quarterbacks room. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And if you want to read the article, it's on 49erswebzone.com. So it's out there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I just look at who the Niners have compared to everybody else. And then though I think Matthew Stafford is still the best quarterback in this division, you know what I'm saying? I still feel like the 49ers have more power at that position.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.